From lost graveyards to millions of dollars in coins. Stay tuned to number 1 to find out the most amazing discoveries people found in their own backyards. Number 10. Ancient burial ground. Because of how the world has evolved in terms of cultures and such, it's logical to think that in any place, in any part of the world, you'll find bones of some creature or person. It's not impossible, and in fact it happens more than you think, such as with a young boy in Utah who decided to dig in his backyard in order to make a pond for himself and his family. But as he started to dig, he came across a bone. Surprised at first, he continued to dig, and what became clear was that this wasn't an animal bone like he figured. It was human. What was the big tip-off? Simple. He found a human skull. He told his parents, who then told some researchers about it, and to their amazement, the bones themselves were old. Very old. In fact, from 1,000 years ago. Upon confirming this, the team went into deep studies as they wanted to figure out who this person was, what tribe or culture they were a part of, and why they were buried there. So let this be a lesson to you. When you start digging in your backyard, make sure you know what to expect. Number 9. Wedding ring. Okay, let me paint you a picture for a bit. You're a married woman, one that loves to do some gardening, and one day you realize that after you did some gardening, your wedding ring was no longer on your hand. This is literally one of the worst things that can happen to you. I mean, it's your wedding ring. You really shouldn't lose that. So what do? Well, you search the garden, of course, but in the end, you don't find it and you're heartbroken. So you explain what happened to your husband and you get a new ring and life goes on, right? Well, right and wrong. For you see, for one Lena Paulson, she thought her story was over when she lost the ring. But little did she know that 16 years later, she would find it in the most unusual place ever. A carrot from her garden. No joke. Somehow, some way, the ring had not only gotten into the ground, but worked its way around the seeds of the carrots in the ground in such a way that when it finally grew out 16 years later, the ring was perfectly around the carrot. Talk about perfect timing and placement. Of course, this does raise some questions, like why it took 16 years for this to happen. But hey, it happened, and I'll bet Lena is going to be telling this story for a long time. Number 8. $10 million in coins. Before we talk about this amazing find, take a moment to like this video and join the Zero to Hero community by using the buttons below. While it's very true that in any single one of our backyards could be a body waiting to be found, or bones waiting to be discovered, but by that same token, treasure could await us. Some of the greatest treasure finds in history weren't in castles or secret bunkers, but remnants of lost fortunes found within the very dirt of people's backyards. And a great example of this is found near the Sierra Nevada mountains of California, where you see, a couple was just doing their own thing, minding their own business and walking their dog. When they went through their property, they saw something sticking out of the ground. A can. Inside this can, to their shock, was a set of gold coins, once marked as $20. They took the coin and rushed it home to clean them off and see what they'd found. When they realized what they had, they went back to the spot and started to dig around. What they would soon find is 7 more cans full of coins. All told, they had over 1,400 of these gold coins. Now, if you take them at their literal face value, then you get around $28,000 in worth, which is a big haul. But after taking them to some experts, they appraised the collection at $10 million. I'll bet you that couple was very happy. Number 7. Fallout shelter. In times of fear and panic, people will often do very weird and extreme things to ensure that they and their loved ones are safe. This is what Chris and Colleen Otkasek found in 2013. For, after buying a lovely home, they soon discovered that in the backyard of their home was a fallout shelter. For those of you that don't understand the term, it's one that was associated with the nuclear holocaust that was allegedly going to come during the Cold War. The bunker itself was fully stocked, showing that the family was ready for the end of the world. This was quite humbling to the Otkaseks. But it was also sobering, Chris added. They built the shelter because they were afraid. I couldn't help but think about their mindset, the real fear they and most Americans felt in the 1950s and 60s. I imagined living in the shelter for the weeks or months necessary, and it wasn't pleasant. I had the feeling that I'd pass away inside before it was ever safe to go back outside. And not everyone in the shelter would pass away at the same time, right? A very grim prospect to imagine. Let's hope they never have to use it. Number 6. Pokemon cards. Confused by this entry? Well, I thought it was funny that someone had found Pokemon cards buried in their own backyard. But also, it's a sign showing of how weird people can get when they want to get rid of things. For you see, the cards in question were perfectly intact outside of the fact that they were buried alive. Which makes you wonder, why didn't they just throw the cards away? Or even better, why didn't they give the cards away? There had to be someone out there who would want these cards, right? So why not find that person? Why not take a little time and make someone else happy with the items you clearly don't want anymore? It's unknown why this person buried the Pokemon cards, but clearly this person doesn't want to catch them all anymore. Number 5. Graveyard. When you buy a property, you expect a certain amount of honesty in regards to what came before you and the house you're buying. Most people are honest about this, and then there's New Orleans. You see, a man had a house in the Big Easy and he wanted to put a pool in his backyard. As you might know, you have to dig out quite a wide area in your yard in order to accommodate a pool. And as such, he did just that. But when he dug, he found caskets. A great deal of them. And according to their markings, they were from centuries ago. How did that happen? Well, according to researchers, the graveyard was a bit infamous. They would actually stack caskets on top of each other in order to get more use out of the land. But that eventually got the graveyard shut down and then sold, which then led to houses being built on the property that housed many of these caskets. Ironically enough, the archaeologist who told them this wasn't surprised about it at all. Number 4. Alligator in the pool. There are often times when an animal will find its way from its natural home and make it into your backyard. And some of these creatures you find are indeed strange, like one guy found a lemur and he was in the United States. But in Florida, a very real danger that was found is that of an alligator in the swimming pool. Poor Sharon Bent and her husband were just resting comfortably in their home in Florida when they heard a splashing noise coming from out back. And when they rushed to see what it was, there was an 8-foot alligator in their pool. Now, ironically, Florida and gators go hand in hand, so finding them in the backyard isn't really strange per se, but they did find this particular alligator swimming in the pool and having fun with a floaty. Now, that's weird. Keeping a cool head, the two went off and called the sheriff, and that led to the alligator being caught and taken to a local farm to live out its life. Though, I doubt that farm had a pool. I'm just saying. Number 3. Fossils. The ancient world and the prehistoric world are things that many people continue to try and understand. And for some who are lucky, they get an up-close and personal look at those worlds with the finds of different fossils. In fact, I could have filled up this list with all of the discoveries of fossils found by people over the years. From massive dinosaur fossils to 2 kids digging up part of a mastodon. Some people even dug up parts of a woolly mammoth as far away as Oregon. You know what they say, the truth is stranger than fiction. Number 2. 100-year-old bottle. Well, that about sums it up in the description, doesn't it? But I'll go into a little more detail because it's necessary. You see, back in the old days, there wasn't much of a desire to clean up the mess around the world. So instead of throwing away trash by putting it in landfills and such, the people would just bury it. Such as with this bottle. In regards to the bottle itself, it's a very interesting contrast to how bottles are made nowadays. The size, the shape, the embroidering, and more. Even the color is a bit different because of how deep blue it is. Makes you wonder what could be in your backyard, huh? Number 1. Glowing gem. Imagine this. You're digging around in your backyard and you find a stone that you can't recognize. It's big, weirdly shaped, and it appears to be glowing. 2 sisters found exactly this in their backyards and wanted to figure out exactly what it was. So they started to ask around, and even going to different scientists from 2 different universities. The first one honestly couldn't figure it out, but the second one did. Turns out it was just glass, but a weird type of glass, so it was likely used as a lawn ornament of sorts. But that begs the question, why was it buried? Who would use such a glass as an ornament? And why exactly did it glow? The world may never know. What do you think about these strange backyard findings? Let us know in the comments below and take care.